Lakers finally traded D'Angelo Russell. They get Dorian Finney-Smith in return, adding a guy who is going to do the dirty work defensively and just hustle nonstop. I feel like he's going to become a fan favorite in Los Angeles. Just listen to J.J. Reich talk about him on his podcast a few years ago. The one guy, I just got to shout out because I love watching him play, and I've played against him now for a few years, and he does so many things that just don't show up in a bow score, and that's Dorian Finney-Smith. Dodo he's just an awesome player, and he's a player that can fit on any team in the NBA. I think he's incredibly valuable. Great defender, hustles, makes all the plays, and defensively for the Nets. Finney-Smith was leading the team with 6 contested shots per game that would easily J.J. Reich has been running more of this year. If Vanderbilt ever gets healthy, the trio of AD, Vandy, and Finney-Smith would be wild. Defensively, also, the duo Max Christie and Finney-Smith on the perimeter will make their defense more lethal. They are an improved defensive team after this deal, and recently they have found some success on that end of the floor. And of course, as we know, defense, especially on the perimeter, has been an issue, so any support should help them find some consistency and improve into the top defense that they can be currently this season. He's shooting a career-high 43.5% from 3, also tied for a career-high in volume 5.4 attempts per game. It's kind of an outlier a year for him. He's always been a good volume 3-point shooter, but not this lethal for perspective. Last season, he shot 34% on 5 attempts per game, and over his Dallas career, he shot 36% on 4 attempts per game. So maybe he has made a jump 3-point-wise, but don't be surprised if he goes back down to like 37% or something like that. He's a threat as a shooter from everywhere right now, though 40% in the corners and 45% on above the break. 3-pointers, his rollies very simple on that end of the floor catch and shoot threes, spread the floor for their star players, and then occasionally attack a reckless close out at his best. He's a very good connector offensively due to the shooting, but he also plays team basketball. He finds the open man. He's good at, making that one more pass when he has to, and he can occasionally drive and kick one. 6 assists per game during his time in Brooklyn. He's a guy who coaches can trust because he's only going to focus on his role and will not try to do too much. And you don't really have to worry about him making silly mistakes. Consistently, another interesting little nugget is he can also be used as a screener. He's a willing screener. He's not afraid of contact. I suspect J.J. Reich will have a good time with this trait and will get the most out of it. He was actually 3rd on the Nets with 1.3 screen assist per game and also 2.8 screen assist points per game. He's Avery, good offensive rebounder as well, 1.6 offensive rebounds per game. He's the type of player to come up with a loose ball in a crucial spot and create an extra possession for his team. And a stat I found that is very interesting is he's the only net with a positive plus 41. The only other players who are positive are G League players or end-of-the-bench players. So they really don't even count. Simply put, he is a winning player. Now let's move on to Shake Milton, because I myself am biased, but I believe he is an underrated throw-in type of player just to make the salaries match up. I'm a Sixers fan. He was one of my favorite guilty pleasures because he's an average player, like he's nothing special. But I love his game, and he's silky smooth, and when he's on top of his game, you're like, how is this dude not in an NBA rotation? But the thing is, it seems like he thrives in big minutes, but in smaller minutes, consistency seems to be an issue. He's also a guy where he needs to have the ball. He needs to handle the rock. He needs that on-ball opportunity to get in a rhythm if he's just strictly in an off-ball role, where a lot of the times he is because he's not going to be the best per game and 11 starts. Now, even this year, he started 1 game, and he put up 16 points and 12 assists randomly. So he's a guy who can fill in if there's injuries to the guard position, and he can actually give you pretty good production. Did the Lakers fleece the Nets? Let me know your thoughts below.